Right. So today we're going to do a deep dive into agentless AI. And I think a lot of people are really interested in it, how it's changing the tech landscape, how...
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
Yeah, it is. It is a hot topic.
Yeah.
It's like having a team of little IT specialists working behind the scenes 24/7, constantly, like fixing things before we even know there's a problem.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The beauty of agentless AI is that it operates externally,
Right.
constantly analyzing and optimizing your IT environment.
Right. And without the need for...
Without the need for those traditional software agents that we used to rely on.
those agents that are always causing their own headaches.
Exactly.
So no more agents, but
Right.
how does it actually work? I mean, it sounds almost magical.
Well, it's not magic,
Right.
but it is pretty ingenious.
Yeah.
It utilizes a 3-step process:
Okay.
localization, repair, and validation. The first step, localization, is all about pinpointing the exact source of a problem.
Okay.
Think of it like a detective using clues to find the culprit.
Yep.
Agentless AI employs what are called large language models.
LLMs.
Or LLMs,
Right.
which are a type of artificial intelligence
Sure.
trained on massive amounts of code.
So it's like they've read...
It's like they've read every coding manual ever written and can spot a bug
Oh, wow.
from a mile away. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So,
And to make this process even more precise, it uses what's called embedding techniques.
okay.
So imagine you have a giant library and you want to find a specific book.
Mm-hmm.
Embedding techniques are like creating a map
Okay.
that tells you exactly where that book is located.
So it's not just scanning...
It's not its unique characteristics.
It's not just scanning through lines of code randomly.
Yes.
It's like, I know exactly where to go.
It's using this map
Yeah.
to zero in on the problem areas
Targeted, yeah.
with laser focus.
So it finds the bug.
Right.
How does it fix it?
That's where the repair phase comes in.
Okay.
This is where agentless AI gets really, really clever.
Okay.
It generates multiple patches, which are essentially proposed code fixes.
Oh.
It's like having a team of expert developers brainstorming solutions.
All right, so we've got a bunch of potential solutions. How do we know?
Yeah,
How do we know which one is the right one?
that's where the validation comes in.
Okay.
The system rigorously tests each patch to ensure it not only solves the original problem,
Right.
but also doesn't create new ones.
Right. So it's not like, okay, we fixed this one thing, but we broke these 5 other things.
Exactly. It's like having a quality assurance team putting each solution through a series of checks and balances.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
this is all...
It's pretty impressive stuff.
It is, but I mean, how does this translate into real-world benefits for IT leaders?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we really...
Yeah, we want to talk about, the practical applications.
Exactly. One of the most significant advantages is how agentless AI handles data.
Oh?
It centralizes data management, bringing everything into a single, unified view.
And so wouldn't centralizing everything make the system more vulnerable?
That's a valid concern.
You a single point of failure?
Absolutely.
Putting all your eggs in one basket seems...
Yeah, we'll definitely delve into security considerations later.
Right.
But for now, let's focus on the benefits of centralization.
Right.
Imagine being able to analyze data from your entire IT environment in real time.
Mm-hmm.
This means you can detect threats more quickly, identify performance bottlenecks,
Right.
and make more informed decisions.
So it's like you have this...
It's like having a bird's eye view of
Yes.
your entire operation,
Yeah, I see how that would be helpful.
enabling you to see the big picture and
Right.
respond proactively.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've got, the security, you've got the efficiency.
Right.
But what about implementation? I mean, we're talking about complex IT environments here.
Absolutely.
Is agentless AI as heavy and demanding as those old?
That's another area where agentless AI shines.
Okay.
It's incredibly lightweight and flexible.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to install agents on every machine,
Oh, okay.
which simplifies deployment and makes it adaptable to diverse IT environments.
So it's like a chameleon, blending in.
Precisely.
Okay.
This adaptability also makes it ideal for companies that need to scale their operations quickly.
Right.
Agentless AI can adjust on the fly,
Mm-hmm.
keeping pace with your evolving business needs.
This all sounds incredibly promising.
It does have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You want to understand the potential risks.
Yes, it's essential to approach any new technology with a balanced perspective.
Right.
While agentless AI offers a host of advantages,
Right.
there are potential risks we can't ignore.
Okay, so let's talk about the dark side then.
Let's start with security.
Right, let's get into it.
Because agentless AI relies on centralized servers
Okay.
and APIs to communicate,
Right.
those central points become attractive targets for hackers.
Oh, okay.
If those points are compromised, the consequences could be significant.
So this is like
Think of it as a control center
you've got a super secure vault,
for your entire IT infrastructure.
but a single entry point.
If someone gains access to that control center,
That could be vulnerable.
they could potentially disrupt operations or even steal sensitive data.
That is a bit unnerving.
It's definitely a consideration.
Yeah.
And it highlights the importance of implementing robust security measures, which we'll discuss in detail later. But security is not the only concern.
Okay.
There's also the issue of visibility and control.
What's the catch there?
Because agentless AI doesn't have agents deployed on every machine.
Right.
It might not have the same level of real-time visibility
Okay.
into individual devices as a traditional agent-based system.
Right.
Imagine a sudden spike in network traffic on a specific machine.
Okay.
While agentless AI might eventually detect this anomaly, it might not be immediately apparent
It's like you've got security cameras,
at the central level.
but they're not pointed at every single
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
little thing.
And finally, we need to address the issue of privacy.
Right, because, I mean, sending all that data to a central point does raise
Exactly.
some red flags.
Ensuring strong encryption and data anonymization techniques
Especially if we're talking about sensitive information.
are in place is absolutely crucial to protect privacy and prevent unauthorized access.
Okay.
We'll delve deeper into these mitigation strategies later on.
Right.
But for now, it's important to understand that while agentless AI offers incredible potential,
Sure.
it's not a silver bullet. It's a powerful tool that requires careful consideration, planning, and a realistic assessment of both its benefits and its risks.
Well, this has been fascinating. Yeah. Just this little look under the hood
I've covered a lot
of agentless AI.
in a short amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the intricate workings of the technology.
Yeah.
We've talked about the potential benefits.
Absolutely.
The crucial security considerations.
Yeah.
But
we're not done yet.
we're not done yet.
So join us for part 2, where we'll explore how agentless AI stacks up against traditional agent-based approaches and dive deeper into those risk mitigation strategies.
All right. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. So we've just scratched the surface of agentless AI, exploring how this centralized intelligence can revolutionize IT. But how does it compare to the traditional agent-based approach?
Right.
You know, the one where software agents are scattered everywhere like little data-gathering spies?
It's a great question, and one that many IT leaders are grappling with. Agent-based AI has its strengths.
Yeah.
Imagine those agents as field reporters stationed throughout your system. They're constantly gathering detailed information about performance, resource usage, and potential issues.
So if you need that up to the second data flow,
this granular data
agents are still the way to go.
Is invaluable for environments that demand real-time insights, like those complex cloud architectures that you're working with. So they can be.
Okay.
But remember, those agents come with baggage.
Oh, okay.
They require resources to install, manage, and maintain.
Sure.
And scaling them rapidly across a dynamic environment can be a real challenge.
So there's a trade-off.
There is.
What you gain in detail,
Exactly.
you might lose in agility and cost-effectiveness. So where does agentless AI fit into this?
Agentless AI takes a different approach.
Okay.
Instead of relying on those individual agents, it leverages your existing infrastructure, tapping into built-in services and APIs to gather data.
So it's less intrusive and potentially more cost-effective.
It's like having a central intelligence agency that can analyze information from various sources.
So does that mean sacrificing detail?
Without needing boots on the ground.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Right.
It really depends on your specific needs and priorities.
Okay.
Agentless AI excels in dynamic environments.
Okay.
Especially cloud-based infrastructures where scalability and ease of implementation are paramount.
Right.
It might not provide the same level of granular real-time data as an agent-based system, but it offers a more holistic view, perfect for identifying trends, patterns, and potential issues that might span across multiple systems.
So it's about choosing the right tool for the job.
Absolutely.
If you need that constant stream of hyper-detailed data from every nook and cranny of your system,
Right.
agents might still be the best bet.
They might.
But if you're looking for a leaner, more agile approach that excels at analyzing the bigger picture, agentless AI is a strong contender.
Exactly.
And this brings us back to the dark side we discussed earlier.
Right.
As you delve deeper into agentless AI,
As we said,
security has to be top of mind.
top of mind, yeah.
Right, we talked about those centralized servers and APIs being potential points of vulnerability.
Right.
What steps can organizations take to mitigate those risks
So
and ensure that those central points are truly secure?
think of it like building a fortress.
Okay.
Your first line of defense is robust encryption.
Right.
We're talking about using advanced encryption protocols to protect data both in transit and at rest.
So encryption is our impenetrable shield.
It's like putting your sensitive information in an unbreakable vault,
What else can we do to bolster our defenses?
making it virtually impossible for unauthorized individuals to access it.
Okay.
Multi-factor authentication is crucial.
Okay.
This means requiring users to provide multiple forms of identification before granting access to the system.
We've all seen how effective those little authentication codes on our phones can be.
It's like having multiple locks on your door, making it much harder for intruders to break in.
Right. Right.
Precisely. And then there's the zero trust security model.
Okay.
This is a mindset as much as a technology. In a
Yeah.
zero trust environment, you assume that no one is inherently trustworthy, even those within your organization.
Oh, wow.
Every access request is treated with suspicion,
Okay.
requiring verification and authorization.
So even if someone manages to slip past our initial defenses,
It's like having a security guard who checks everyone's ID regardless of whether they're wearing an employee badge.
this zero trust approach makes it much harder for them to move around freely and cause damage.
Exactly. But security isn't just about prevention, it's also about detection.
Right, because no system is foolproof.
What happens if, despite all our best efforts, something suspicious manages to slip through the cracks?
That's a good point. What's our next line of defense?
That's where constant monitoring comes into play.
Okay.
By implementing AI-driven anomaly detection systems,
Mm-hmm.
we can create an early warning system for potential threats.
So it's like having a security camera.
These systems continuously analyze network traffic, system logs, and user behavior, looking for patterns that deviate from the norm.
That not only records, but also analyzes the footage in real time,
Right.
alerting you to any suspicious activity.
If something unusual is happening, it'll flag it immediately.
Okay.
And the key here is speed.
Right.
The faster you can detect an anomaly, the faster you can respond and contain the potential threat.
Right.
It's about minimizing damage and preventing those minor incidents from escalating into major breaches.
But in our zeal to secure everything, don't we run the risk of creating a system that's so locked down it becomes unusable?
You raise a valid point.
I mean, too much security can stifle productivity and innovation.
Security should never come at the expense of usability.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance.
Okay.
And one approach to achieving this balance is adopting a risk-based approach to security.
Tell me more about this risk-based approach.
It's about prioritizing your efforts based on the level of risk.
Okay.
You identify your most critical assets, the data that absolutely must be protected,
Right.
and then you assess the potential threats and vulnerabilities specific to those assets.
So we're not trying to protect everything with the same level of intensity.
This allows you to focus your resources and implement security measures that are proportionate to the level of risk.
We're being strategic, focusing our efforts where they matter most.
Exactly. It's like having a security detail that's laser-focused on protecting the most valuable assets,
Right.
while still ensuring overall security without creating unnecessary roadblocks.
And speaking of roadblocks, let's shift gears and talk about something that can trip up even the most well-intentioned organizations.
And speaking of roadblocks,
Regulatory compliance.
yes, compliance.
Right. We touched on this earlier. We know you're interested in staying ahead of the legal game.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into the nitty-gritty of compliance.
Compliance is non-negotiable.
What are the key things you need to be aware of when implementing agentless AI?
The specific regulations will depend on your industry and region, but some common ones include GDPR for data privacy in Europe,
Right.
HIPAA for healthcare data in the US, and SOC2 for security and data protection.
So it sounds like navigating a complex legal maze, making sure you tick all the right boxes.
Failure to comply with these regulations can lead to hefty fines, legal action, and reputational damage. It's not something you want to take lightly.
Yeah.
It can be,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Okay.
The key is to integrate compliance considerations into every stage of your agentless AI implementation,
All right.
from the initial planning and design phase
So compliance isn't an afterthought.
to ongoing maintenance and
It's
monitoring.
baked into the system from the ground up.
Exactly. That means conducting thorough risk assessments,
Right.
implementing appropriate security controls,
Mm-hmm.
establishing clear data governance policies,
Okay.
and regularly auditing the system to ensure ongoing compliance.
So you're being proactive, not reactive.
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
This has been incredibly insightful.
It has been a good discussion.
We've covered a lot of ground, from comparing agentless AI to agent-based systems,
A lot of ground.
to delving into those crucial security and compliance considerations.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're getting a real sense of how this technology can revolutionize IT operations, but also the importance of approaching it with open eyes and a clear understanding of both its potential and its limitations.
You've summed it up perfectly. It's an exciting time to be in IT.
Absolutely.
But as with any powerful tool, responsible and informed use is key.
Well said, but our deep dive isn't over yet. Join us for the final part, where we'll leave you with a thought-provoking question to ponder. Something that will challenge you to think beyond the technical and consider the bigger picture of agentless AI and its role in the future of technology. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into agentless AI. We've explored its inner workings, we've compared it to traditional agent-based systems, and we delved into those critical security and compliance considerations. It's clear that this technology has the potential to reshape the IT landscape. But as we embrace this new era of intelligent automation, it's crucial to kind of pause and reflect on the bigger picture.
You're absolutely right. We've focused on the how and the what of agentless AI, but now it's time to consider the why and the what if.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just understand the technical details. We need to think critically about the broader implications of this technology, both for our businesses and for society as a whole.
It's like we've built this incredible machine, but now we need to make sure that we, have a firm grip on the steering wheel. So where do we even begin to unpack these broader implications? I mean, it feels like we're venturing into uncharted territory.
It is uncharted territory in many ways, but that's what makes it so exciting. And I think the best way to navigate this new landscape is to start asking the right questions, questions that challenge us to think beyond the immediate benefits and consider the long-term consequences.
Okay, so let's start asking those questions. And what are some of the key things we should be considering as we move forward with agentless AI? What keeps you up at night when you think about the potential impact of this technology?
One question that's always top of mind for me is, how do we ensure that agentless AI remains a tool that we control rather than the other way around? As these systems become more sophisticated, capable of making decisions and taking actions without human intervention, how do we maintain oversight and ensure that those decisions align with our values and our goals?
It's like we're giving this incredible power to a machine, but how do we make sure it doesn't, develop a mind of its own, that we don't end up creating something that we can no longer fully understand or control?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's not just about technical safeguards, although those are crucial. It's also about fostering a culture of responsible innovation where ethical considerations are woven into the very fabric of how we develop and deploy these technologies.
So it's not just about building a better mousetrap. It's about making sure that mousetrap doesn't accidentally trap something we didn't intend. It's about anticipating those unintended consequences and building in safeguards from the start.
Precisely. Another critical question is, how do we ensure that agentless AI benefits everyone, not just a select few, as we automate more and more tasks? How do we address the potential for job displacement and economic inequality? How do we ensure that the benefits of this technology are shared widely and that everyone has the opportunity to thrive in this new era of intelligent automation?
It's a valid concern. I mean, automation has always been a double-edged sword, capable of both creating and eliminating jobs. And as agentless AI becomes more pervasive, it's crucial that we have thoughtful discussions about how to manage this transition, how to retrain and reskill workers whose jobs may be impacted, and how to create new opportunities that leverage the unique capabilities of both humans and machines.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that agentless AI, like any technology, is a tool. It's a tool that can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us as a society to decide how we want to use this tool to shape its development and deployment in a way that aligns with our values and aspirations.
So it's not just a technological challenge, it's a human challenge, a challenge of vision, of foresight, of responsibility. We need to be thinking not just about what's possible, but about what's desirable, what kind of future we want to create with these powerful tools at our disposal.
That's a great way to put it. And that brings us to our final thought for you, our listener. If agentless AI is like having an incredibly powerful but somewhat unpredictable assistant, what safeguards would you put in place to ensure it works for you, not against you? What questions would you ask? What values would you prioritize?
It's a question worth pondering. It's a question that challenges us to look beyond the hype and the headlines and grapple with the real, complex, and often uncomfortable questions that this technology raises.
And those are the questions that will ultimately shape the future of agentless AI and perhaps even the future of humanity itself. It's a journey we're all on together. And the more we learn, the more we question, the more we engage in these critical conversations, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this uncharted territory and create a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
We hope this deep dive has given you a solid foundation for understanding agentless AI, its potential benefits, and the critical considerations that will shape its future as you continue to explore this fascinating and ever-evolving field. Remember to keep asking questions, keep challenging assumptions, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But always do so with a mindful and responsible approach, ensuring that technology remains a tool for progress, not a force that controls us.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into agentless AI. Until next time, stay curious.